Part 2. The kid does. I didn't realize there was a file maximum on the phone. So anyway, yeah. So then after the cheese monster is dissolved, the dad's like, "Hey, the same thing happened to me when I was a kid too, except it was sour cream that was my problem." Yeah. So anyway, I've done a really shitty job of describing the book. I took like detailed notes and like none of that ended up coming out in this video. That's all right. After this, I'm gonna read and do this one at some point when I have time, but I'm not gonna have a lot of time in the near future. And then that's it. There'll be no more even tangentially related Goosebumps reviews on this channel. So sorry that I have to end on a whimper and not a bang. Anyway, my basic thoughts about the book. Aside from the cover, I think the cover is kind of funny. It's a nice like Jacobian style to it. I think I like the color scheme. It works for the parody it's supposed to be, and I mean, there's no like bumpy texture, and the font isn't as cool because it's trying to be goofy and not scary, but it's funny. The book itself, it reads more like a Goosebumps book in parts than in others. In some parts, it just feels like a silly book for kids with very juvenile humor, and it gets very repetitive. People keep stepping in cow pies or falling in cow pies. The puns are kind of stupid, but the plot overall is rather Goosebumpy and just a little different. It's just a little bit more rude and immature than Stein himself would actually go. But you do have evil scientists, you do have a crazy, ridiculous, like, monster or invention. You have a 12-year-old, 13-year-old protagonist, you have the platonic girlfriend, you have the sibling that the protagonist hates. You know, you have monsters, you have cliffhangers that are fake. You have all of that stuff from Goosebumps, so it's clear that Mr. Slime did read Goosebumps books. He got what the basic formula was down, and he wrote this very immature parody of it. Or I guess he read two. As a kid, I really did like this book. I remember I got two. I was actually more excited to read this one. I thought this one was had a funnier idea. It was sort of like aliens sucking people to a toilet or something. But I ended up liking this one more. Now, it doesn't hold up as well without the nostalgia goggles, because I remember actually liking it on its own like merits, not even as just like a parody, because it's not as like silly or like Hot Shots or Airplane type of parody, which I thought it would be. It does kind of work as a serious but extra stupid Goosebumps book. And having read a lot of Goosebumps books at this point, and many of them are really fucking stupid, like Egg Monsters from Mars and stuff like that, and Beast from the East, this is actually kind of better than some of those Goosebumps books. It's not a good book at all. I mean, the plot is still ridiculous and absurd. But as the Goosebumps books went on and they became less Twilight Zone for kids and more absurd garbage, it does kind of... There's no reason why this should be considered a worse book than, Abominable Snowman of Pasadena or something like that. Even though, something like Headless Ghost, which is a boring-ass piece of shit book, it's still dealing with ghosts and haunted houses. It's not cheese monsters and talking cows. And, it takes the ridiculousness of Goosebumps and makes it slightly more ridiculous, but the story itself still has the tone of a serious story and not as a ridiculous parody, which kind of works for it. So, I mean, I read it in like a day, because unlike the regular Goosebumps books where we read like a chapter to each other or a couple chapters to each other at night, I just kind of blammed through this while I still have free time left in my life, and that was about it. There's not much else to say about the book. If you're a big Goosebumps fan, if you've been watching all of these reviews and you're like, hey, I've never heard of that, and I can find it cheap on Amazon, and I did find these pretty cheap on Amazon, just used copies, and both copies were almost like brand new. They came out really well. They were pretty well preserved by whoever sold them. Then they're worth reading, especially because they were written and published and released at the time that Goosebumps was still popular, so it doesn't have its own nostalgia. It's actually commenting on something that's at the height of its popularity, it's right there. But it's fun. So, anyway, thanks for watching this video. Well, I guess these two videos, because my phone had to break it up into two file sizes. I don't know when I'm going to get to this. Not that any of you are all that excited about it. Again, this obviously isn't funny like it usually is because there's not someone I'm playing off of. I wasn't like angry by it. I didn't do a good job of it. I mean, this wasn't my thing. If I do my own videos, I review movies or I taste test things or whatever. That's what I do. I don't do this on my own. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry that we have to, or that I have to, because my ex might do Goosebumps reviews on her own. I don't know, but I'm sorry that this is like sort of the last hurrah for Goosebumps related reviews that you're gonna get. Just this, and whenever I get to the next one, a couple just updates on my life. I got a new job. It starts on in the middle of April. That's a full time job, and it I'm not a job I'm too excited about, but it pays really well, so that's the good thing. And I'm going to also keep the part-time job that I'm working right now as well, so I'm going to be working two jobs. My goal with that is that I'll be making enough money to afford a nice apartment. Like it's not going to be as nice as the two houses I've previously just lived in since I moved to North Carolina, but I'm aiming for at least better than the sad studio apartment that I lived in Rhode Island. Basically, I want to live in a place where living in that place does not make me want to kill myself. But the trade off of that is by doing two jobs in order to make such an income that an apartment rents where I need to have three times the apartment rent as my monthly income. That's what they want now. I have to work these two jobs to get a decent place, and by decent place I mean a place that charges like between like over $800 a month for rent. Because you can get a really shitty place for about 5 or 6, and you can get an okay place for 7, and not like a decent place, and that's sort of 8 or more. But working two jobs means I'm going to have very little free time. And whatever free time I do have is going to go toward, seeing movies, because I would go through withdrawal without seeing movies. And also, since my ex is letting me keep Carl, spending time with Carl, because for the past couple months I've only been seeing him once a week when I visit the old house, and it's sad and I miss him. And the knowledge that I'm going to have him is like one of the only things that's keeping me going. So I'm not going to have a lot of time to do reviews, either the print reviews that I write in my blog or doing like movie reviews here. So you won't hear much from me for the near future after that. So that's just what's going on with me. So I mean, there's some good news because at least I'll be able to get a place, but it my life is still not going to be happy for the foreseeable near future. So that sucks, but I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm in the situation I'm in. But that's it. Hope you got something out of this. Again, I'm sorry its quality sucks, but I don't know, you guys deserved a little extra something if you still stuck with me this long without a Goosebumps review. Have a good one.